But I wanted to talk to you just briefly about the challenges we face, and Mel hit a number of them. I think of this as 3 steps. We have 3 steps to get South Dakota back to prosperity, to move South Dakota to the place where we all know it can be. But step number 1 is to fix the budget. We have serious problems on our hands. We were told by the budget committee that next year, the 2012 budget, will have a budget deficit of $107 million. $107 million maybe in some states isn't a lot. In South Dakota, it's almost 10% of our entire general fund. $107 million. All because we've mismanaged state government, frankly. And we've spent too much in the wrong places and too little in the right places without investing in the state. We have to change that. But $107 million will greet the next governor in terms of the deficit he will be facing. But in addition to that, we've added state employees from the beginning of the Rounds-Dugard administration to the present day of substantial numbers. We've gone from 12,900 state employees to 14,460 in a state with the population of Toledo, Ohio, in a state with a population that has remained relatively stable. We've added 1,500 state employees. We've added a new state employee every 48 hours during the 7 years of the Rounds-Dugard administration. That is a growth rate that cannot be sustained. As I tell my friends who work in state government, the best way we can ever get off the dime of no increases in pay, which for the last 2 years there have been none, is to reduce the size of the workforce, to recoup some of those dollars and invest them again in rewarding excellence and quality. We can do that in state government. But the first step is we need to fix the state's budget. I've given you a couple of the symptoms of the problem. We had 53% growth in state government over the last 7 years, 53%. We've hired Washington, D.C. lobbyists to the tune of $200,000 a year, which money is then funneled back to Republican office seekers and campaign contributions. We've bought state airplanes that we don't need. You know the story. What we really need is a sea change, a change in the culture in Pierre. A change that says we aren't responsible for creating the bureaucracy that currently exists, but we will be responsible for reducing the size of the bureaucracy and getting back to essential services. So step 1 is fixing state government. We're going to do that by reversing a lot of the things I just talked about. We're going to reduce spending in tough years. We're going to cap spending in good years. I propose that state government live on the same diet it imposes on school districts and county commissions. We make them live on 3% of the rate of inflation, whichever is less. Yet state government hypocritically has grown at the rate of 5.5% over the last 7 years. That simply cannot be sustained, and it's spending money in the wrong place. That money should be invested in kids and educators and schools. So after we fix the budget and we make some of those changes, then comes the part that I regard as the most fulfilling and the reason that any of us are in public service. The remaining 2 steps of this 3-step process after we fix state government is to invest in kids and schools. And the third is to grow jobs. The difference between hunting, seeking a smokestack to come across the state line for incentives, but after the incentive's gone they leave, and gardening, finding entrepreneurs in South Dakota and encouraging them from the ground up. That's how you really create wealth. But the thing that excites me the most is education. Education is what I'm passionate about. Education is why I got back into politics, and I am bound and determined to make a difference in that world if I have the chance to be the governor of South Dakota. What do we mean? I'm sure Mel found this. It is so true that in the Capitol building in Pierre, I bet you half the folks there think of spending in education as a cost, and the other half think of spending in education as an investment. And the thing that's really insidious about this whole debate is this. Those who don't really want to spend more money on education understand that the indicators of quality from the classroom only go down over time. That is, teachers, excellent teachers, continue to stay even though they aren't getting an increase for lots of other non-economic reasons. They stay in the classroom, and then when they're gone, you see a reduction in the quality in the classroom. The reverse is also true. To actually improve education by investing in kids and educators, you have to commit yourself to a process that is as involved as the next generation, or at least the next decade. You have to say, I'm going to make decisions today to invest in education, knowing that the measurable indicators in the classroom may not tick up for a while, may not show results for a while, but I'm going to stay with that decision because it's the right decision to make. That's the difference to me between a statesman and a politician. When you know that that's the right thing to do, but there isn't an immediate gratification at the polling place or necessarily from the voters. The best time to plant a tree, 20 years ago. The next best time, today. That's what investing in the children and the educators in South Dakota is all about, and that's why I'm so passionate about this challenge to become the next governor of South Dakota.